So it is currently the 17th of August 2025, and although it's not an exact year to the day, it's around this time last year that I dropped a video talking all about how I was going to be shifting most of my content that I did on the channel from toy hunting and toy reviews to toy making. Now obviously, although this was still toy related stuff, it was a big leap in a different direction, and in the world of toys, people are very particular. You've got some people that only collect He-Man or only collect Transformers, and they don't want to watch videos about anything else. So when I was a channel that went out hunting toys and then also reviewing toys and showing my pickups and things, me switching to toy making could have effectively really damaged my channel, because I'd built up a nice little following of people that love to see me go out and toy hunt. So switching that to a completely different type of toy content could have really not gone in my favour. So I did a video last year talking all about where my headspace was at the time and how I was apprehensive to be moving in this new direction. I'd also built this whole studio for like a year before that, so it was something that I had to do. I couldn't change my mind now. I was also going to be moving into a space that at the time, and still to this day, is a very, very niche little area on YouTube. There's not really many people doing it. There's myself and a few others that are kind of spearheading this thing. So I was not only moving into something that was a very small space, but because it's such a small space, there's not a big crowd of people or fan base to draw from. So I was primarily also going to have to build up my own community from scratch. So what I wanted to do in this video today is just talk a little bit about where my headspace is at now after doing this for 12 months. And then also, with the current state of YouTube at the minute, was it worth it? I were also, as well, during that intro, 3D printing something. You probably heard it in the background, but I think they might be a bit small. I did already print these once this morning and they were too small, so I scaled them up a little bit, but they still look like they might be a bit small. However, I'm going to make them fit because they took 3 hours to print, and I want to get cracking on this job. The studio at the minute is an absolute tip because it was only 2 or 3 days ago that I finished my sew Fubi episode, where I learnt how to sew. And whenever you're working on a video, there's usually just a load of chaotic mess around you, especially when you're gunning right to the end to get it finished. So that's why it's such a mess in here. So while I talk to you today, I'm also going to be tidying up and having a tinker and just fixing a few little jobs that need doing, including this one. So all this is a piece of the shelf from the IKEA cupboards here that wasn't being used, and I just had 2 pieces on this custom table that we had built. And I just had it as a little shelf in the middle, but then it occurred to me last night I could also fit a shelf at the bottom and display some big kaiju Fubi, or just put stuff there. Stuff that looks neat and not cluttered and crowded, but also just making use of a space that otherwise isn't doing anything. But when I put the piece of wood down, this part of the table has these 2 struts because it was made to put a shelf in there. And this just has one in the middle, a supporting strut. So I, using my little weird brain, came up with a bracket that slots on there. I just sculpted it quick in Nomad and then 3D printed it. But I printed them not only in the wrong size, but also the wrong material. Look at that, it's squishy. So they were no good. So that's a waste. Although I'll probably find a use for them. And then it gives me a nice little space. And I don't mind that they're pink. As you know, I'm partial to a little bit of pink. I love bold colours, and when I got all that bamboo filament sent me, I got some really nice bold colours, so I'm just making use of it. So, yeah, they should be cool. That should work all right. So hopefully, this should fit. Nice. Look at that. Wonderful. And I actually got the idea to do this when I was watching a documentary the other day about Ben Cooper masks on Amazon Prime. Really cool documentary that talks all about the history of how Ben Cooper masks were made, and they speak to his family and his employees and people that worked at the factory and things, and it was really good. And in the background of the interviews, I just saw that they had something displaying things on a kind of podium like this, and I thought I could do that. And then, yeah, A day later, I did. But there's lots of little things like this, little tinkery jobs that I do in the studio that I don't bother filming. I got to a point with the studio updates where I just stopped filming it and just started cracking on with things that needed doing. But every now and again, I feel like there's things that I probably should have filmed. Like the other day, I did all these lights. Let me show you these lights that I did on my new shelves. So recently I fitted all these lights on these shelves, and it might look like a simple job, but it really wasn't. So these are like USB powered little strip lights that you get from AliExpress, and they're only like a $5 each. They're really cheap, but the charging them doesn't last very long. So I wanted to be able to have them on all day whenever I'm filming, just have them on and not have to worry about them running out of battery. So I fitted some USB wires to them, but what I had to do is feed it down this piece of trunking, this railing at the back. So I had to cut and drill little holes in the metal and then feed those wires down and do that for all 6 lights, all individually being powered by this little block, which isn't the neatest thing in the world, but I am gonna create something that makes that neater. I'll talk about that in a different video probably. But just that on its own was like a whole half day of cutting away at metal and measuring the wires and everything and getting everything set up. And it sounded pretty simple when I thought about it in my head. To myself, it sounded pretty simple, but like I always say, even doing the most simple things can be a really stressful, problematic job. And I was cutting metal in here until about 3 AM in the morning. But I really like how it looks now. So over the years, I've done so many different things. I've been a rapper, a battle rapper, I've made movies, I was a professional illustrator for years, I've worked in independent film, in professional film, I've done all sorts. But making toys on YouTube is the most rewarding, the most gratifying and the most fun creative thing that I've ever done, ever. Just YouTube in general, and I mean, I came to YouTube as a filmmaker. I didn't come as a content creator, so even when I was out filming the toy fairs and things and toy hunting, I always tried to film them in a classier way than what someone else might do if they were just vlogging it or something like that. I always tried to film things from interesting angles and make sure that the edit that I was doing was snappy and there were music cues and colour grading and all that kind of thing. Which is also why when I went to a toy fair, I didn't want to just film stuff. I always wanted to kind of get some kind of story out of it. I wanted a beginning, a middle and an end. We go to the toy fair, I'm looking for something specific and then I find it, or I find something that I didn't expect to see and then I've got to bring it home. So sometimes when I was filming something like the Doncaster Toy Fair that I covered many times because it's really close to me, I would feel like I was beating a dead horse. I was doing the same thing over and over, and I would stress myself and pressure myself to try and have like a good finale, have something happen in the video that made it interesting. So if there's nothing at the toy fair that you didn't really see last time, nothing you want to buy, nothing that makes it a unique experience or a unique video, then I was always kind of stumped with how do I make this one different to the last 20 that I've filmed. Something also happened as well. When I first started filming toy fairs, there was only a handful of us doing it. There was only like 3 or 4 people tops that were filming and actively putting them on YouTube. But then it got to a point where there was like 20, 30 people filming the toy fairs, especially something like the NEC. And if 20 or 30 people are all doing the same thing, chances are I'm not interested in doing it anymore. Especially in something that's such a small little niche thing like filming UK toy fairs. I even saw recently there was an NEC toy fair that I didn't go to, but on my home feed I got recommended a bunch of videos from it, and every single one of them had the same thing in the thumbnail. A good friend of mine, Ian, from the Vintage Toy Monster, he always stands at the NEC and always brings really nice stuff, and he'd brought with him a Shogun Godzilla. And every single one of those videos had green writing in the thumbnail and then a vintage Shogun Godzilla. And don't get me wrong, I love that figure, it's an absolute classic. It was awesome that Ian had picked a couple up and brought them to the toy fair. But when I'm seeing 6, 7, 8 videos all with the same toy in the thumbnail, like, there's no allure there to me to go and film that event. So back to the other thing that I was saying about when I did film toy fairs, I was always trying to have like something that made each video have its own unique USP. Try and find something cool or whatever. That also, in a lot of ways, means spending money because you've got to buy something cool for the video. You want to have that, like, look what I found at the NEC kind of title and thumbnail. You're also trying to find something unique so that you and 20 other people don't have the same thing in your thumbnail, like what I just said. So the beauty about me doing toy making on YouTube, not only did it mean that I could use all my filmmaking skills because I could shoot it in a really nice way, I could use my skills as an illustrator and a sculptor to create these toys that I have in my head and be able to bring them into reality. I was always a massive fan of fan art and seeing different artists' interpretations of existing characters, which is why I do so many like remakes and reimaginings of existing IPs. I've also been a toy collector all of my life. My dad was a toy collector before me, so I've always been around this stuff. So I know about all different types of toys and toy aesthetics and styles of figures. So it almost felt like all these different things that I did all encompassed into me training my whole life without me even knowing to be a toy maker. Like it seemed that there was no other job for me to do. There was no other thing for me to do. Out of all the other things that I do, and I enjoy doing filmmaking and music and stuff, when it came to making toys, that's the one that felt the most right to me. But on top of all of that, it also meant that I always had a finale for the end of my video. As long as I made the toy that I set out to make, at the end of the video I've got my finale. And the maddest thing is, my channel has grown and grown more than ever. I've got more subscribers than I've ever had, I get more views and more comments for the most part than I've ever had. So even though now, my analytics in terms of views and subs and everything like that, way higher than there was, I actually make less money on YouTube now than I did 2 years ago. And I am going to talk about my YouTube earnings later on in the video, because I think people would find it interesting how much you actually make when you've got a channel of my size getting the views that I'm getting. But in a nutshell, basically, the reason for this is the videos that I make now, even though they get way more views than I've ever got before, and I've got a bigger platform than I've ever had, 2 years ago, I would be making like 2 videos a week. So accumulatively, over that month, I would still make more money than what I'm making now. Like, for example, this sewing machine video that I just did took me like 3.5 weeks to put together. And I work on YouTube videos every single day. Like, there's never a day where I'm not working on one of my videos for several hours. And one like this that I'm filming today might only take me a few hours and then maybe half a day to edit or something. But something like learning ResiOne or learning how to use a sewing machine or doing a graffiti train, they can take weeks and weeks and weeks. So even though I'm working on them every single day, the end product might take me a month to create and then be like, what, 40 minutes long, which is kind of the length of a NEC Toy Fair video. Now, don't get me wrong, I know a video about sewing on my YouTube channel was never going to slap. It was never going to set the world on fire. I do think it's so niche that it's the only one that's ever been on YouTube. The only video that's ever been uploaded on YouTube that's about specifically making clothes for Sofubi figures, which personally I think is pretty cool. But I obviously knew when I created that it was never going to go that hard on my channel, so the fact that not many people watched it wasn't a surprise to me. I was kind of prepared for that in advance. But when it's a toss-up between creating something that I know is going to be more popular, more of a trending subject, maybe make me more money in the long run, or making something that I'm genuinely passionate and excited about, I'm always going to go with the latter, which obviously might not always be the best decision when you're trying to make a living on YouTube. Now also, bear in mind, this is not me complaining, this is just me telling you exactly how it is. And even though I've got some videos that might not have performed as well as I would have liked them to, I would still have to be getting like way more views to make just doing YouTube financially stable. But when you drop a video on YouTube, it tells you how well it performs out of your last 10. And this can be like really detrimental to some people because they'll sit and obsess over it. I just think it's interesting. But I'll get a close-up of this so you can see. But the sewing video that I did is currently 10 of 10. So it's performing the worst out of my last 10 videos. And it's doing the worst by a good couple hundred views. But at the same time, even though that one has only done 3.1k in 2 days and 20 hours, so it will pick up a bit more, the fact that my highest grossing video is only at 8k in 2 days and 20 hours still means that all my videos aren't performing that well, or as well as I would need them to do in order for me to make a decent living off YouTube. So I would have to be getting like 40k, 50k, 60k on every video that I dropped just for me to be like, okay. Something else as well that's important if we put YouTube revenue to the side is sponsorships. Now, a lot of YouTube creators will have little sponsored sections in the videos. So those sponsorships can be something that really helps keep a YouTube channel going because they can pay you a good few £100 every video. And if you've got a big channel, way more than that. But in order for you to get them sponsors, again, you need to be getting a decent amount of views on every video. Now I'm lucky that when it comes to the sponsors that I've had, they've got in touch with me, not because of the viewer count, but because they specifically like what I do and they like the way that I sculpt toys or the way that I shoot videos and things. So I'm lucky in that way. But if I was a channel that solely relied on getting those sponsorships through the views that I was getting on the video, and sometimes you might get a sponsor that only pay out the full amount if you hit a certain amount of views as well. And if I were one of those channels, then I would be doomed. Talking about the sponsorship thing again as well, I do get sponsorship offers. I get them every day. Just a lot of them not very relevant. It's few and far between that you get one that you actually connect with. I'll also get them sometimes for kids' toys or toys that are just not on brand with what I'm doing. I even got one recently, or two, that were for a sex toy company wanting to send me like a life-size, fleshy, realistic doll. I think they saw that I review toys and then took the name Slimehouse and misinterpreted it. I don't know, but obviously I didn't want to go with that one. So, why am I telling you all this? Why is this relevant? What's he gobbing on about? Well, at the start of this video, I said, was it worth it? Completely switching my channel content pretty much from toy hunting and toy reviewing to a channel that makes them. Especially considering that now the channel earns less money than it did 2 years ago. And in a minute, I'm going to show you on the YouTube studio exactly how much I have made in the past month on YouTube. And I think you'll be shocked. And I say that because when I show people, they usually are. I speak to so many people all the time and they'll say, oh, you've got a YouTube channel, haven't you? I want to get on that YouTube. I want to start making some videos, putting it on YouTube and making some money. So many of my friends' kids want to be a YouTuber when they grow up, and they think because I've got a YouTube channel and that I've got lots of toys that I earn tons of money. But as you'll see in a minute, it's really not the case. And that's why when I do my videos, I always have a call to action and talk about the Patreon. Because although I do other things on the side, I do freelance work, I do filming and illustration and a lot of toy design and toy sculpting and things, that's freelance work, so it's not guaranteed, it comes when it comes. And the sponsors, like I said, they do come around now and again, but that's not every month, they're not guaranteed as well. They just, again, come when they come. So the only thing that is semi-guaranteed every month in terms of the money that's made through having a YouTube channel is the Patreon. And I never want people to watch my videos and think, oh, he's talking about Patreon again. He only says that because he wants a little bit of extra money. He's got his YouTube money and then he wants to just make a little extra drink on the side. And that couldn't be further from the truth, because literally, as I'm going to show you in a minute, Patreon is the only reason that this channel can exist in the capacity that it does. If I didn't have a Patreon, I'd be having to put videos up like I did years ago, just every now and again whenever I found the time to do it. It would have never been a channel that's grown to the size that it's at now. It would never be able to be a brand that I could take seriously and wear on my chest, literally. Which is why I'm always so grateful to my Patreon community for not only supporting me, but for also having as much faith in this brand as I have. So yeah, without further ado, I'm rambling. I'm going to show you exactly how much I've made in the past 28 days on YouTube. The past month, basically. And bear in mind, the other work that I do, the illustration work, the sculpting, the filming on location and stuff, I wouldn't even get out of bed for what YouTube pays in a month, which is funny because, as I've said, I spend pretty much all my time doing this on YouTube. So for the past 28 days, I have made on YouTube a grand total of £126.79. You get me? So imagine that divided by, I don't know, 28, 30 days. I swear that's like £3 a day. How much is 128 divided by 28?
The answer is approximately 4.571429.
So a fiver a day. A fiver a day. Nobody would get out of bed for a fiver a day. Yeah, I get out of bed every single day, come into this studio and graft for hours and hours and hours to make YouTube videos. Which is why I have to have a Patreon, which is why the Patreon is so important, because like I said, it just wouldn't exist, you've seen it. And this isn't just me, all my other friends that have YouTube channels rely on the Patreon. Some people might turn their nose up at Patreon and say, oh, YouTube should be free, or I don't want to pay for YouTube, or people that have a Patreon are grifters or whatever they say. But in my case at least, for me having a channel like this that covers a very niche subject, without my Patreon, without the odd sponsor, without the merchandise that a lot of people sell, and I do toy releases every now and again, like a couple of times a year, but I can't rely on them. Honestly, without Patreon, yeah, none of this happens. So, was it worth it? Is it worth it having a YouTube channel that's such a weird little niche subject? Was it worth changing my channel content from toy hunting to toy making? Is it worth grafting every single day, non-stop pretty much, to bring these videos out? And the answer is yes, yes, yes. I've had some whack jobs in the past, labouring, back-breaking work, digging holes in the rain, digging foundations for houses, shoveling gravel, working in call centres, getting talked to like an absolute dickhead by horrible people. And like I said, they paid way better than YouTube ever did, but with everything that I've done in my life, from illustration to toy collecting to art and filmmaking, and then being able to combine all that to make toys and then also create videos about making those toys, and then build a whole community around it and make a ton of friends that just get it. It's the best job I've ever had. It's the most fun I've ever had. And honestly, I want to just keep doing it forever. And the toy making stuff I've only been doing on the channel for like the best part of a year, just over a year. So as far as I'm concerned, this subject now that, like I said, me and a few other people on YouTube are just spearheading, a very small group of us, is totally in its infancy. And I'm so excited to see where this channel and where this brand and where this like genre of YouTube video and content creator will go in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. I'm super excited for that. And I've got some really, really big plans. Like some epic plans that are going to help take this channel to the next level, and I can't wait to talk about them. So before I wrap this video up today, I'm going to be wrapping this guy up, who you might recognise as the retro style action figure I made of Huxley for Ben Morrow and Read Only Media and Thames and Hudson in one of my most recent videos. I made it a couple of episodes back and had a lot of fun doing it, and this is actually a prime example of one of those commissions slash sponsorships slash collaborations where I got approached literally because the people liked my work and they liked the way that I make toys and they liked the way that I shoot videos, and that's how this whole thing came around. And what was really cool is, off the back of that commission, I managed to fund one of the things that I was just talking about. And there's actually a few things that I've got in the works, stuff that's happening, but this is the first one. So thanks to Thames and Hudson and Read Only Media and Ben, I was able to get that off the ground. And when I say off the ground, I mean like literally off the ground, because this project involves me jumping on planes and leaving the country. And it's also a project that will be split into lots of different videos that will all feature different things that you probably like about Slimehouse TV, toy hunting, toy making, traveling around, collaborating with people that you will have seen on the channel before, some in person, but then also some that I've only ever met over video call. What's also really cool about it is that most of you won't even know what it is until I've done it and I'm back and the video is ready to be released. The first video, there's going to be many. And the reason that I say that is the only people that I have told about it are the patrons, the people over on the exclusive Slime Alliance Discord. They're the only ones that know about it. And of course the other YouTubers and the other toy makers and people that are going to be collaborating on the videos with me. I want to add a little bit more packaging between his antennas because this guy's going a long way. He's going all the way to America. So we've got to make sure that he's super safe. Luckily he was all made in ResiOne, semi-flexible plastic feeling resin, so there is a little bit of durability with him. He's not brittle like the old stuff that I used to make, the old stuff that I used to 3D print on this channel. So again, if there was ever a time to join the Patreon, if you're a little bit nosy, and I get it, I'm a bit nosy, and you want to find out what it is that I'm up to and what I've got planned, then we have been talking about it over on the Discord. And of course, anybody that joins the Patreon and helps support Slimehouse and what I'm doing and these bigger projects is also going to directly contribute to me having a better budget when I go out and film these projects. I've got lots of cool stuff planned, but I can do even bigger and better stuff the more budget that I've got. You also get access to some exclusive Slime Alliance STLs that I put over on there from time to time, over on the Patreon. I just actually put some on a couple of days ago, some old Slimehouse minis that you will have seen on the channel before, but I've never put out before until right now. As of now, they're now available over on the Slime Alliance Plus tier. So it's going to be really cool seeing people print those out, because like I said, I've never given them out to anyone. I can't always provide too much for the Patreon people for free. Joining my Patreon is all about just supporting what I do, but I do also try and give back whenever I can. I really, really do. I'm also always a bit paranoid when I do a video like this where I'm just talking to camera that I'm coming across as ranty or beggy or like I'm shortchanging the audience, because I know that people expect a certain level of quality of video here on Slimehouse TV. But I've done like big projects back to back for months and months, and I think it's important to check in with you all and let you know where my head's at and just like have a bit of a talky episode every now and again. I always like to be very real and very transparent with my audience, and I just think it's important for the people that do care about Slimehouse and do want to watch the videos and do want to check in with everything that I'm doing to let them know what's going on here at Slimehouse HQ between the bigger projects. And I also hope that watching this video and me being so transparent and letting you know the YouTube earnings and things, that you do understand how important it is that I do have a Patreon and how imperative it is that people do support that if they enjoy what I'm doing here on the channel. So like I said, I'm going to the post office in a minute, and it would be nice for when I get back if I checked my phone and I maybe saw a few more Slime Alliance members had joined the Patreon. That'd be really cool. Whether it's to nosy what I'm doing and what I'm up to and what this big project is, or just because they genuinely want to support what I'm doing. But whether you're somebody that joins the Slime Alliance and watches my videos religiously, or you're a casual viewer, I really do appreciate every single person that takes the time to watch my videos, to like them, to share them, and to subscribe to the channel. Because, yeah, like I said at the start of this video, was it worth it? Absolutely it was. And in that time of me becoming a toy maker, my channel has skyrocketed. In terms of what I do, it's like grown tenfold, and that's all down to you lot supporting these videos, watching them and engaging with them and showing interest in this new venture. And with everything else that you could be watching on YouTube, it really, really does mean a lot that you come back here every single week and watch what I'm doing here at Slimehouse TV and checking in and supporting my projects, and it really, really does not go unnoticed. So until next time, until those next big videos that I've got planned and some other awesome ones that's going to be dropping in the meantime, I'm Theo Kane, this is Slimehouse TV, and I'm gone. Pow!